Hi, my name is Dimitris Hatzigiannakis, and in this webinar I will present to you the main issues related to mapping the SAP Financial Accounting Documents data with the Greek Tax Authority platform MyData tables with codifications for updating mandatory electronic e-books. You can find a very useful document in English regarding the MyData tables on the AADE site www.aade.gr.mydata. The document is called Technical Documentation of REST API interface for submitting and retrieving data, and at the appendix it presents all MyData tables that comprise codes and descriptions in English. The first and probably the most significant MyData table is the MyData document types table that many call MyData invoice types table. There are 52 MyData invoice types that define and control the data that have to be uploaded to the Greek tax authorities. The MyData document types starting from 1 are related to sales invoices with variations depending on the customer. In SAP, these outgoing invoices relevant FI documents may be posted either from Sales and Distribution module SD using transaction VF01 or from the Financial Accounting module FI using transaction FB70. The main variation is related to the country of the customer. Thus, 1.1 are sales invoices issued from the company to domestic customers, 1.2 are sales invoices issued to EU customers, and 1.3 are sales invoices issued to third countries customers, including the Great Britain. The MyData document types starting from 2 are services sales invoices with variations depending on the customer. These are very similar to the ones starting from 1 and have similar variations. 2.1 for domestic vendor customers, 2.2 for EU customers, and 2.3 for third countries customers, including the Great Britain. In most cases, the only difference from the relevant starting from 1 is related to the print-as code used in printing the relevant document and assigning the series and number using the Hellenization transaction J2GL-PPSD. The MyData document types starting from 3 are called acquisition invoices or proof of expenditure. Although the MyData document types starting from 1 and 2 are very common, the ones starting from 3 are relatively rare. They have to do with documents issued by the company for vendors that cannot issue an invoice that will be used as a proof of expenditure. For this reason, every company posts these documents mainly in FI using a special SAP FI document type. The MyData document types starting from 5 are credit note invoices with variations depending on the reference. 5.1 are credit notes associated with a sales invoice that have successfully uploaded to MyData having mark, and 5.2 are credit notes not associated. For the first periods of MyData, SAP XML exchanges, we suggest to prefer the 5.2 MyData document type that does not need any mark. The MyData document types starting from 6 are self-delivery or own consumption invoices that have to be issued from the company at least at cost amount in order to give the relevant VAT to the tax authorities. These SAP documents are posted in SAP either from FI or from SD using cash sales debiting a cash account instead of a customer. The MyData document types starting from 7 are sales contracts, the ones starting from 8 are sales rentals, and the ones starting from 9 and 10 are delivery notes. The MyData document types starting from 11 are related to retail slips. The retail slips are very common documents in Greece, issued by a company that do not present the counterpart customer data, e.g. name or VAT number. These SAP documents are posted in SAP either from FI, mainly debiting a cash account, or from SD, using a general retail customer. The My Data document types starting from 13 are related to non-mirror expenses that are mainly posted from FI, debiting expense accounts without crediting a vendor. The My Data types starting from 14 are related to incoming invoices with variations depending on the vendor. In SAP, these incoming invoices, FI documents, may be posted either from the Materials Management module MM using Transactions Miro, or from the Financial Accounting module FI using Transaction FB60. The main variation is related to the country of the vendor. 14.1 is used for incoming invoices issued by EU vendors, and 14.2 for the ones issued by third countries vendors, including Great Britain. As you can see, there is no code for incoming invoices from domestic vendors, since these documents should not be uploaded by the company. The domestic incoming documents have to be downloaded from My Data after uploaded from our domestic vendors. 14.31 is used for incoming domestic credit notes. The My Data document types starting from 15 are expenses contracts, the ones starting from 16 are expenses rentals, and the ones starting from 17 are general ledger postings like payroll, depreciation, etc. The My Data invoice type is a mandatory field for all the data to be uploaded to the tax authorities that controls the different mandatory fields that will follow. For example, My Data invoice type 1.1 has to be followed by header data related to customer, e.g. name, Greek VAT code, etc., line items with amounts and taxes related to revenues, and a footer with total amounts. My Data invoice type is generally determined by the SAP document type, the country of the counterpart, customer or vendor, and the Hellenization print as codes. SAP document types are determined using transaction OBA7. Countries are defined in SAP using transaction OY01. The participation in the European Union is determined by the field EU country, which has to be maintained for the United Kingdom. My Data document types may need more complex determination criteria involving general ledger accounts, tax codes, specific customers or vendors, account groups, etc. The second, but equally significant My Data table is the VAT category table. There are 8 VAT categories that are related to the VAT tax data that have to be uploaded to the Greek tax authorities. The VAT categories are related to the VAT percentages used in Greece. We generally use SAP tax codes we create using transaction FTXP. The VAT exemption causes is the next MyData table with code that have to be determined. There are 24 VAT exemption causes related to specific articles of the VAT code. This is a totally new entity for SAP that may generally be linked to tax codes with 0% or with a default cause. MyData exception codes may need more complex determination criteria involving general ledger accounts, tax codes, customers or vendor countries, etc. The withholding tax codes are the next MyData entities that have to be determined. There are 15 withholding tax codes, 12 with percentages and 2 with amounts. Withholding tax codes are mainly determined from the general ledger accounts that are assigned to them. One of the most important MyData table with codes is the income and expense classification category, simply called the categories. There are 26 categories for revenues and expenses. Revenue categories are starting from category 1 and expense categories are starting from category 2. The expenses and revenues categories are mainly related to general ledger accounts used in postings. One of the most important MyData table with codes is the income and expense classification types, simply called the E3 codes. This is the biggest MyData table comprising 105 codes, 99 E3 codes and 6 VAT codes. The prefix E3 is related to the E3 form that all companies operating in Greece had to submit. The E3 classification type codes are mainly related to expense and revenue general ledger accounts. There are also some more tables that will be mainly used in the future, such as the payment methods, the units of measurement, the purpose of movements and remarks. The last step of mapping is related to the acceptable combinations of the document types, categories and E3 types that I have gathered to an Excel. MyData responses successfully in 710 combinations which we have gathered to this Excel file. If we submit a not accepted combination, we receive error 313. Classification type is forbidden for classification category combined with invoice type. So, if we want to have proper mapping, we have to identify the correct combinations of the classification type, E3, the category, for each document type. For example, you can see that the combinations are very few. So, if we want to have the proper mapping, we have to identify the correct combinations of the classification type E3, the category for each document type, and we have to submit to the tax authorities. That's all for today. We will continue with more webinars related to ebooks, which we believe that will continue to concern us for many years. If you want to send you the Excel, I have gathered all the valid combinations. Please send me an email. Bye.